let's look at this word problem. Corey has 4 bags of apples. Each bag weighs 3/4 of a pound. How many pounds of apples does Corey have altogether? This is a good example of a word problem where you can't just jump to use the first keyword that you see. You have to think a little bit more than that. Let's read it a second time to understand the problem, figure out what our question is, and what information we have. Corey has 4 bags of apples. Each bag weighs 3/4 of a pound. And how many pounds does Corey have altogether? Now, if we were to just start circling all of our keywords that we've used, we would say we have of, we have each, we have of, we have of, and we have altogether. That can be a little bit misleading. We usually think of altogether as adding, we think of as multiplying, and we think of each as sometimes multiplying and sometimes as dividing. So let's look at some of these. We have 4 bags of apples. Of is only used when we have something of an amount, like an amount of another amount. So we have 4 bags, but we have to make sure that we mean of an amount. This one's really just telling us what's in the bag. So we have like 4 apple bags. Each bag weighs 3/4 of a pound. We could have just said 3/4 pounds. We don't really need that of in there. That's not going to help us. How many pounds of apples? So again, we're not talking about amounts. So let's think of this a couple different ways. We do have each. We can think of each as sometimes meaning multiplication, sometimes meaning dividing. Now, altogether, we often think of with addition, but one thing you have to remember here, multiplication is just repeated addition, so sometimes that word can be a little deceiving. Let's draw a picture of this. I have 4 bags. Here's 1 bag, 2 bags, 3 bags, 4 bags. Now, how much does 1 bag weigh? Each bag weighs 3/4 of a pound. If I draw that picture in my plan, then it helps me to see that this is really multiplying or repeated addition. If I want to find out how much this whole thing weighs, then I have to multiply each of these 4 things times 3/4. So I would do 4 times 3/4. Now, another way we have looked at these problems, we've thought about, you can think of the total, the number of groups, and the number in each group. There's no magic way to answer all of the word problems. You're going to have to do some thinking. So with this one, we are trying to find out, when he says we have to find out the total, how much does he have altogether, that's what we're trying to figure out. We need to find that is the total. That's our X value. That's our unknown. It's what we want to find out. We know we have 4 groups. Each bag is a group. So we have 4 groups. And how much is in each one? 3/4 of a pound. And I'm going to put the pounds in there because pounds will be important as part of our answer because we want to put our units in there. So if we know the number of groups and the number of in each group, we're always going to multiply to get our total. So that's how we know that's what we're going to do. We can cancel here because 4 over 4 equals 1. And so we can take the 1 out. We don't have to write that down. We don't have to write this. All we have left is 3. And what are our units? 3 pounds. Now, let's see if our answer makes sense. We've said how many total we have. That's what we figured out. So we've answered the question. But we want to know if our answer makes sense. If we have 4 bags and each one is less than 3/4 of a pound, our answer should be less than 4 because 4 different things, each one of those 4 things is less than 1. So you know that 3 is less than 4 and our answer makes sense. Look for a way that you can check your answer and make sure it makes sense.